You know him, the main character of the series. I was reincarnated as the seventh prince so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability. Lloyd might easily be referred to as a mad mage because of his great obsession with magic and all mystical phenomena. He will stop at nothing to further his knowledge and study of these subjects. He is more indifferent about everything and shows little interest in anything other than magic. He detests boredom as well, which normally happens when he isn't able to pick up any new magical knowledge. This may get so bad that he even discovered how to cast a spell to wipe his own memories, enabling him to forget about reading a book and return to it later to savor it as if it were his first time around. To train and look after him, there was another maid called Sylpha Langless. Sylpha is a stunning, well-endowed young lady with long, silver hair that is worn in a long ponytail and silver eyes to match. She usually wears a long-sleeved maid's uniform with a navy blue corset, a long skirt, and boots that reach her knees. And lastly, she always has a longsword with her. Before that, let's go back a bit. Even though he lacked talent or mana, as a simple citizen of the Kingdom of Saloum, he genuinely loved magic and dedicated his life to learning as much as he could, even if it meant searching through trash for old, abandoned books. Even with his bad financial situation, he somehow barely managed to gain admission into the Academy of Sorcery as the only commoner, with his only belonging being a book of magic. But as the students and staff of the academy were all nobles, they didn't like the fact that a lowly peasant was studying in the academy with them, so he was constantly getting bullied or accused for stealing. He didn't mind this, however, as this allowed him to see the nobles' magic in action. Commoner didn't sit well with the nobles of the academy, and they conspired to get him removed, through means of a duel in which C.S. Le Revenant burnt him to death while berating him for his lack of noble bloodline and aptitude for magic. Even as his life neared its end, his only wish was his hope to continue to learn and research magic. When he opens his eyes again, he inadvertently sends a powerful spell through the roof. Afterwards, he finds out that he was resurrected as Lloyd de Salome, the seventh prince of the Kingdom of Saloum. Even as a baby, he was already immersed in magic, as he had memories of his previous life, devouring every book on magic he could find in the royal castle. He acquired a number of spells via his studies and self-education, including the ability to erase his own memories, which he frequently employs to relish reading the book again. As a 10-year-old, Lloyd always tries to escape to the library to learn more about magic, but Sylpha catches him and forces him to conduct his daily sword-fighting routine, which ended with his loss. Later during the bath, Lloyd learns about the demon of the forbidden tome, Grimoire, from the maids there, who informs him about how that demon once had brought the kingdom to ruin and needed a legion of sorcerers to seal it. He learns that the tome is locked away in the basement's sealed archive and becomes interested in it, deciding to investigate the archive later that night. After successfully breaking the seal to enter, he is distracted by all the books in the archive, so he spends his time reading them. A tome suddenly acts up from which a being appears and thanks Lloyd for breaking the seal. The being identifies itself as Grimoire and asks Lloyd to break the chains which is still binding him to the tome. Lloyd ignores him and tries to reseal him, but Grimoire manages to tempt him with knowledge of old lost magic from centuries ago. Lloyd decides to free Grimoire, who immediately attacks him with an old spell, Arctis Obscura, which Lloyd easily blocks with his barrier. Lloyd demands to be shown more magic, which irritates Grimoire, who starts attacking him. However, nothing is able to get past Lloyd's barrier. Grimoire next uses dual incantation Arctis Obscura Forta, which still doesn't work on Lloyd's barrier. Seeing his attacks not working, Grimoire decides to flee but is blocked because Lloyd had already layered another barrier around sealed archive and on each of the bookshelves in order to not disturb others or cause unnecessary damage. Lloyd attacks Grimoire with a Pyrlance Insinus in order to check Grimoire's defensive spells next, easily defeating him. Lloyd restores the damaged sealed archive and talks to the now submissive Grimoire, questioning him regarding various stuff about demons. The topic then moves on to how much magic the demon can take, causing Grimoire to completely submit to Lloyd while pledging his allegiance. to which Lloyd accepts, but asks him to transform into something smaller, which he complies to. Lloyd decides to let Grimoire cling onto him in order to take him away from the archive, allowing Grimoire to try and take over his body. But as soon as he makes contact, he senses Lloyd's mana, causing him to freak out and become fearful for his life. Due to this, Grimoire decides to stay quiet for a while,